Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. As you probably know, our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in annual revenue by 2020 and beyond, both revenue-wise beyond and year-wise beyond. We want to continue catering to your needs. And we are here to achieve this goal basically through your success. So the only way this program can be successful is if you achieve your dream of successful entrepreneurship, becoming successful entrepreneurs. This is our 140th session. So as you can tell, we've been around for a long time and we've been doing this for a long time. So this program is quite seasoned at this point. Before we dive into the entrepreneur discussions today, I just want to bring to your attention one more time that we are running the Trade King Pitch Fest competition for financial entrepreneurs right now. So if you're working in financial technology and you're developing trading apps, roughly speaking, the Trade King API is a very good API to build to, and it comes with go-to-market advantages. So Trade King will let you market through their channel into their customer base. So it's a very nice offering, and they're going to be giving 12 1M1M scholarships to the winning entrepreneurs. So by all means, if you're working in financial technology, please take a look at this opportunity and file. The deadline is September 10th, so make sure you file your applications on time. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with Maureen. All right. We're going to also, by the way, live tweet some of this show from @1M1M and @Sramana. Those are our Twitter handles. By the way, those are very active Twitter channels, and you're most welcome to follow them, as well as one thing we are seeing, people who are auto-retweeting the 1M1M Twitter channel are collecting huge numbers of followers. So we're soon going to do a blog post on this topic and give you the nitty-gritties of this mechanism of building a Twitter following. But meanwhile, if you are live tweeting the show yourself, please use the hashtag 1M1M. All right, we're going to start with LicalFitTank, Christina Hall from San Diego, California. Christina, if you could unmute your line and tell us what you're doing, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. Hi, Sramana. Thank you for accepting me, and hi, everyone. I am from San Diego, and I started this company about 1 month ago. It was kind of in the, so to say, R&D for about a year while I was working full-time in biotech, and I was thinking of different concepts, and it kind of evolved from sponsorship to membership to now e-commerce. And we do have a minimum viable product, which was launched early July. And I guess next slide, if you could. Okay. So essentially, our concept is we have kind of a chicken and the egg thing happening here. We have a B2B audience, which is our fitness partners. And then we have our B2C, which is we're selling classes at a discount, which is more or less because they're discounting their classes to fill the classes. So studios can post classes the day of, or they can have a reoccurring class. And what is happening now, our partners are posting, some of them are posting themselves, and sometimes they're posting for them. They're kind of catching on to the concept that they can do this the day of the event, like personal trainers who have cancellations or classes that people cancel last minute. They can go on our website and post those classes, and then AK at a discount because, again, they're trying to fill the classes. And so people are coming to us expecting that discount because of the supply. And Groupon, Living Social, those e-commerce platforms are all kind of doing something very similar, but not exactly the same method because they're selling a membership system, like a monthly $19, but they're restricting days and times based on the partner's request. So we're kind of reversing that and selling based upon class demand.
Okay. So basically you need to tie into the systems of the fitness centers to be able to keep track of the inventory of how much is booked and how much balance capacity is there, right?
We're not tied. I looked into that. It's very complicated. It would take a lot of work power, manpower, and a lot of capital. Essentially, because of the software that they're using, which is MindBody software or Fitness Booker. There's two primary softwares for the booking systems, and to integrate into that is just not possible. And even Spa Booker has a Wellness Booker system. It's a brand new division of Spa Booker, and they sell classes direct from their system from all their partners who are using their software, but they're not discounted just because they're offering them, I think, a more sponsorship system where they sell because they.
Then how do you figure out what classes to sell and how many seats to sell in a class?
It's direct communication with the partners, so they can do the posting themselves, which is key because they can just go on the website and go to submit an event, and then they can submit the event themselves, and then we will batch the sales. Our business
How many of these fitness centers are actually doing this on your system right now?
We have 8 currently in San Diego.
8 in San Diego, and how many consumers do you have using the system?
We're pre-revenue. We don't have any sales just yet. We're just getting the marketing nailed in, and we're just starting locally. We're bootstrapped.
So no consumers are on your system yet? You only have 8 fitness centers?
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean consumer sales or just traffic? Just traffic.
Traffic.
Oh, traffic, yes. Yeah, we're getting about 15, 20, sometimes 30 unique hits per day. I'm using Google Analytics, but in terms of sales, no sales yet.
Okay. All right. And the business model is you take a commission on the sales?
Right. We're negotiating 50%, 50 right now, and that's all negotiable.
Isn't that too much? 50% is too much, I think.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Well, I know because it's not a group buying system, but I haven't had the partners who we've talked to haven't given any indication of, that's not too much. But perhaps you're right. The feedback I've been receiving is very positive from them just because it's fulfilling, they're basically filling air, and they don't see it's a win-win for everybody in that situation. But it very well could be. We haven't expanded enough to get a good census of that price. So,
we'll learn. Just be sure to listen to the market as you're developing the pricing. So fine, you start with 50%. It just seems to me high to me, but if the market accepts that, that's fine.
Yeah, I think they're used to, just because of the other platforms, they usually take 60 to 70. But again, that's a group buying system, which is completely separate than just a straight e-commerce. But
yeah, and also their numbers, right? You cannot give them that kind of numbers.
Right, exactly. The group buying, yeah. But yeah, that's very true, and I'll have to keep a close eye on that. So our market segmentation is there's just some few scenarios here about who we're targeting, and from my own market research, the age range is between 25 to could be 40. They're usually young professional females, busy, and then the next phase of our expansion is hopefully going to be like web application or iPhone application, because this is really meant to serve just an as-need basis. I have an hour on my schedule. I'm traveling. I'm on my lunch. I want to grab a workout. Where do I go? And so as we grow, then we'll implement some other features to assist with that need. Our strategy right now was really blanketing San Diego. I've turned away from that, and again, because we've only launched about 6 weeks back. The website was launched 6 weeks back, and I've turned away from that, thinking that we should really just narrow down into a shorter radius. And San Diego is a big geographic region. And I'm thinking right now just to focus strictly on like North County, which is probably 5 or 6 cities, and really consolidate that market with our fitness partners and consolidate that market with our marketing strategy, which is our search, pay-per-clicks and course. And then also events. We're doing a lot of local events, and we're going to Tech Cocktail tonight in San Diego just to exhibit. So we're doing lots of types of exhibitions for in San Diego.
I think what's missing for me, based on what you have on this slide and what you're saying, is that how do you efficiently reach this 20 to 25 consumers within a 20 to 25 radius, 25-mile radius of a certain fitness center, set of fitness centers. What's an efficient marketing mechanism to reach that audience?
Yeah, I think guerrilla style is going to be the best, and we're doing some host beneficiary marketing, which is asking our partners, which is essentially them who have a larger customer base than we do currently, to co-market for us. And that, I think, would be the #1 strategy as of now.
Who is the co-marketing partner?
I'm sorry?
Who is the co-marketing partner?
Oh, so our fitness partners, whoever they may be in San Diego, we would ask them to do some host beneficiary marketing for us on our behalf. They have a larger customer base that has grown over however many years they've been in business. And essentially they would include us in like their newsletters, and we would, how Yelp has their stickers on windows and stuff like that. We would give them the material, the marketing material, and they would co-market for us.
And if that's a strategy, then why would they not do the marketing themselves? What is your value proposition here? If they're going to help you acquire the customers, what is your value proposition to them? It sounded like your value proposition to them are the customers.
Yeah, it is the customers, but it's also a platform, because a lot of these studios are not sophisticated in the way of marketing, and that's not everybody. It's not a good fit for everyone. But they do, this is a marketing platform, and they oftentimes don't have that kind of marketing assistance from their,
Willing to do that?
What's that?
Are they willing to do that?
Yes, they are, yeah. And they do it in a very strategic way. It's not as if they're blanketing their customer base with our brand. They're really doing it from like, okay, now you can buy classes, X amount of classes here, and they're only select classes, or not classes that are, the ones that are filled, say at 5 o'clock at night when people are getting off work. That's not the kind of class that we have to offer. They're classes that are based on demand. And so they are directing traffic over to us for these certain classes.
Okay. All right. So that's reasonable.
Yeah. And then I've set up a few wildfire campaigns on social media, but social media is going to be difficult just because the audience is national. But again, it's just hoping for some branding and some good connections. But yeah, so we are.
The issue here is the locality, because people don't drive very far to do this kind of stuff. You have to work within a very small radius, and if you you basically need a strategy of how do you do customer acquisition in a small radius. What you presented is fine if you work with the fitness centers themselves, but I haven't heard yet any other strategy of doing that kind of tight, very localized marketing.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I'm on the call too, because I don't have a lot of B2C experience. I've worked in biotech medical sales.
Are you
B2B.
familiar with Patch?
Patch, P-A-T-C-H?
Yeah.
I'm not. It sounds familiar, but I'm not really familiar.
Look at Patch. Patch is this series of websites that kind of act as local, you could say newspapers effectively, online newspapers. So, I know that where I live, Menlo Park has a Patch site.
Okay.
So those are hyper-targeted, small radius kinds of things. I don't know how many people read those things. I don't know what their statistics are, but you could easily talk to them and find out if there's something you can do with them.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, those types of mechanisms, there's a lot out there from that perspective, and so I think we just need to get a little more granular in that method, because that's not my expertise. But yeah, so again, our validation questions were pre-revenue. Most traction has been gained with our fitness partners, and surprisingly, the response has been fantastic. They think the concept is great. Now we're just needing to get more partners on board and grow the customer base. I don't know if our competition really matters, and unless we're competing with our partners directly.
You know, there are lots of people who are trying to do this concept. I've seen this concept elsewhere. We were doing some contests in London, and I saw this concept come up over there. But you know, this is so hyper localized, and you're going to be doing in different geographies. So at some level, I would say it probably doesn't matter so much. It depends on who are the competition at any given time when you're starting out in a particular geography, and you have to pay attention to that. Other than that, you know, I think the market is there for, you know, various geographies, and it'll take a long time before all the geographies are saturated.
Yeah. There's a company called FitTank. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. They're a membership model system. They're funded by WellTech funding in New York City. And maybe I can ask you this question, but WellTech funding, the board is also for spa finders, spa wellness, and they wanted to see my investor deck. And they're not in the direct space, but they could be in direct competition, and I'm not sure how much information I should share with them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you're kind of not ready for financing.
Yeah.
So I think you need to wait. You need to build this up further before anybody. Right now, it's going to be a waste of time. You're going to share your investor deck, and you're going to, you know, waste a lot of time catering to investors. Nothing will go anywhere. So I don't recommend that you do that right now.
Okay, so prove the concept and determine market fit, which is where we're at currently, and then go from there.
Yeah, and if you're looking for an incubator, I would say join 1M1M.
Okay. I have looked into that, so I will continue to look into it. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
CJ Singh, Boise, Idaho. Company is Expert Booth. CJ, if you could unmute your line. Christina,
yes,
thank
hi,
you.
Sramana.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm CJ Singh. I'm the founder and CEO of Expert Booth. Expert Booth is an online advice platform where you can connect with experts on most topics via live chat or email. Our goal is to make professional advice easier, cheaper, and more accessible for everyone.
Professional
so
advice
next slide.
what?
Yeah. What's that?
Professional advice on what?
Pretty much any topic. So health, legal, accounting, finance, retirement planning, professional counseling, which is a big area. So if you look at our website, we have almost 500 different categories.
Okay.
So now there are two main types of advice, two main modes of advice. So you can find an expert that you like. You can search for experts in various categories. And let's say you're looking for some legal advice on starting a new company, let's say, forming a corporation, or just whatever your startup questions are. You can find a legal advisor, you can find an attorney, and you can either schedule a live chat session with them, or you can just simply send your question to them via email. So let's first talk about the live chat sessions. This is primarily where most of our technology and our effort went in developing this platform. So you can have video, voice, or text chats with experts. Now, video chats are really useful for some of the categories, particularly professional counseling, where you need some, online relationship counseling, or any type of, maybe even some people have used it for psychic advice. But it depends on, for some categories, for some types of advice, video is more useful. For other types, people prefer to just have a simple text chat. And we have a pay-per-minute billing platform. So you start a chat, and if you can ask a few initial questions. If you like the expert, you hire the expert, you submit your credit card details, and once the session is over, we bill you based on the total session duration. And now the email advice, it's a little bare bones simple, where you send a question, you send your request, or let's say you need your taxes done, you just send a request to an accountant, and he just invoices you. And you pay the invoice, you get your work done, you leave a rating, and you're done. Now, we take a 35% commission from all the payments received on the website. And just one more thing I'd like to add on the previous slide is that we also have a referral system in place where experts can refer other experts, and they can earn when their referred experts earn money on expert booth. So we launched in June of 2012, just a couple of months ago. We have 400 experts in various categories right now, and it's growing pretty steadily. We have been focused on primarily growing our expert base in the first few months, but we recently, just a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, started our customer marketing. And we've had about 40 requests served via live chat and email. These are paid requests. And right now we are focused on 4 main categories. These are legal, finance, professional counseling, and psychic advice. And we also have just launched a verified experts program, where we have contracted with one of the largest background check companies in the country, called Sterling Infosystems, and they are doing background checks for experts on us. The experts, this is a paid service that experts can choose for $10. They can choose to verify their credentials, and we feature them higher on the website and give them some benefits out of this. So this has been working out pretty well. It just gives an added confidence to the clients that they're talking to a genuine expert. We have a few legal and financial experts who have been verified right now. We've verified them ourselves, and we expect this program to slowly pick up as the website grows, where experts will be requesting these verifications themselves. So
in terms of the 400 experts, which of the legal, finance, counseling, and psychic, where do you have the maximum experts?
Well, so you'll be surprised. The maximum are in psychic. Psychic experts are, it's a big market, and they are very open to online advice because they've already been doing it on other websites. The challenge with other categories, and we still have a fair number. We have, I guess, over 50 in legal, over 50 in finance, and I think maybe about 40 in counseling. And then we have a lot of other categories like plumbers and tech experts, business experts. All of them have, most of them have a few experts that have signed up. But with these legal, finance type of categories and counseling, we have to explain the concept to them before they decide that this is something they want to do. With categories like psychic, experts are already used to it. They're familiar with the model, so that's why it's quicker and we have more experts there.
Okay, and what about the customer requests? Where have you had the customer requests?
It's just in these 4 categories, because this is where...
Is there any kind of behavior, like where you have seen more requests?
Well, that's just, some of our PPC campaigns are more effective than the others, but that does not reflect. We cannot say that it's just one category is higher in demand. It's just some of our campaigns have been just more targeted, so we got more requests in that, and we have seen most requests in legal category until now. Okay, so this is where we are going. What's in store for the next few weeks and months. As I mentioned, we are just ramping up our customer marketing, so our PPC and PR. We recently just got featured on killer startups, and then now we are focusing on the other websites, reaching them out. Now we have a very, for us, very exciting feature that we're working on. It's so we are also bringing in a third type of advice medium, which is a phone-based advice. We're going to be using Twilio for this. So rather than waiting for the expert to come online and talking to them, experts can just specify their availability, and they can specify their phone number on the website, and anyone can just click and call them through the website, and they will just get a direct phone call, and it'll be a pay-per-minute phone call, just like a live chat session. So it just makes it easier for the experts to serve more requests and for the customers to not have to expect an expert to be online. And we also have an affiliate program in the works where we will be embedding third-party widgets on other sites, other relevant sites. For example, a legal forum could have our widget. It could say live chat with a lawyer right now. And we are also launching a blog to connect with these experts. We intend to have a few thousand experts before the end of the year, and we want to have make it a very active and vibrant community. So we're going to have a discussion board and an expert blog to keep in touch. And once we are through all these steps, we are planning on going out and reaching out to the incubators and accelerators all across the country.
And to be part of an incubator, is that what the incubator application is all about?
Yes, I think that even though incubators don't provide a lot of funding, but I think it's a great way to get some mentoring and some exposure. So that is a plan. We are not planning on going out to VCs anytime soon. We know it's difficult. We know we have to prove our model before that. So incubators is what we're going to be targeting first.
Okay.
So this is just pretty much, I wanted to, primarily the purpose of this presentation was to just get your high-level feedback on the idea, on the concept, if you see this being something that could be useful, make someone's life easier, primarily, and any challenges you see for us. And of course, again, I don't expect any specific marketing advice. It's all about constantly tweaking and testing stuff. But our primary channel is pay-per-click. Other stuff like social marketing, Facebook ads are not that effective for this type of use case. So it's simple, pure Google, pay-per-click, image ads, banner ads, display network, all of that. But clicks are pretty expensive, especially for the categories that we have chosen to focus on. So just wanted to see if you had any ideas on maybe any partnerships with organizations, other sites, any strategic alliances.
A lot of assumptions, CJ, which I don't agree with.
Okay.
So, I mean, you've made a lot of assumptions about what is effective and what is not effective, which I don't really agree with. And part of the disagreement comes from the fact that you really are going very broad. You know, legal, finance, psychic have no real correlation.
Well, if you think about Elance does projects for, they do legal writing projects to software development projects to just SEO article projects, article writing projects. So, I mean, they also are pretty across the board, but that's why we have chosen to focus on just a few of the potentially lucrative categories.
Yes, but Elance has also been around for a long time. This is a 15-year-old company.
But they started at some point, right? So I guess that's what our thought process is, that we don't want to make just a legal advice platform. There are plenty of them. We just don't want to.
An advice platform, but you're going to have to, you know, PPC is very expensive. If you really want to build this company in a capital efficient manner, and you have no choice but to do that because no one's going to fund it across, out of the gates. As you said, that is an assumption that I do agree with, that this is not at a stage where it's a fundable concept. But you're going to have to do it with SEO. Very largely, you're going to have to do it with organic SEO, and that's something that is heavily dependent on keyword concentration.
So yeah, SEO is definitely on the radar, but we believe we have created something called subsites, microsites for these categories. So we can still do SEO for those subsites and not have to change our concept to just focus on one category.
All right.
So, yeah.
So any marketplace takes a lot of time to take hold. I think it's a question of how soon can you start actually generating revenue. Have you, in the 440 customers that you've serviced, you have generated revenues of them, right?
Yes, and that's so. This is provided we get cheap traffic, we generate traffic from day. Well, we generate revenue from day one. So we are not reliant on advertising or anything else. So it's just we just need to find cheap traffic through SEO or through whatever mediums.
Yeah. So one of the ways that we like cheap, one of the best ways to get traffic is through guerrilla PR, which is not necessarily easy to get, but it's something that is one of the cheapest customer acquisition strategies, and it has a lot of tie-in. SEO and guerrilla PR have a lot of tie-in and so forth.
Can you think of an example maybe of another company that was able to do this?
Yeah, we have tons of examples in the...
For guerrilla PR maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, so we teach all this in pretty comprehensive detail. If you hang on, I'm going to work with the other entrepreneurs. If you hang on, I will talk about case studies and how we teach the 1M1M program later on in the show.
Okay. All right.
SmashTech, Michael Rosenberg, San Francisco, California. Michael, if you could unmute your line and tell us what you're doing.
Yes, Sramana, thank you for having me today. So I'm the co-founder of SmashTech, and as it says on the screen there, we provide dead simple task automation for Salesforce.com. In fact, there's about 3 million users of Salesforce.com, and we're basically providing visibility into the most relevant information within a single click instead of 6 or 7. And so when we look at the value proposition, it's really in 3 areas, and the first being, we save time. In in Salesforce.com, you have multiple screens that have to load. You have past call history in a different screen. You have contact information in a different screen. And what we've done is we've developed using the Salesforce API, we've been able to pull all the most relevant information into one single screen. And so you have one click to create or complete a task. We've got visibility into the most relevant information instead of having it hidden. And we're automating. So once you click complete a task, it automatically will create the new task based on the previous information and the user, the company, et cetera. And what we found is that initially we thought that the value proposition was going to be the one click, but it's really the visibility into all this information in one screen. And so what we see is us creating a very disruptive technology, because now we're pulling Salesforce.com users out of their native application by saving them on the tests we've done, it's about 60 to 70% time savings.
And is this something that your target customers have validated, that they want this and they like it?
Great question. So you'll see in one of our slides coming up, I think it's 2 slides up, but yes, we have validated. Not only is they have validated that it's beneficial to have all these different items in one screen, but it makes it so much easier to just fly through their daily tasks, which, to be honest, is about 50 to 100 tasks on average that need to get logged or created in Salesforce.com, because the mantra is if it's not in Salesforce, it didn't happen, right? And that happens across the 3 million users. So our market segmentation.
A UI layer on top of Salesforce.com.
Yeah, so we have a separate application with that's the UI, and you log in with your Salesforce credentials, and you are within the SmashTech application. And when you complete a task, it posts it immediately into Salesforce, turning it essentially into a database, if you will.
And what is the business model?
So the business model right now, it's a $9 per month per user subscription. And it's in private beta right now. We've tested with a couple of companies, and a lot of people that I've known as being in the sales space for a number of years now, and you know, what they've come back to us is hey, we love it. We want to see these other features. We want to see it also do email automation. So what we're envisioning is potentially what Eloqua and Marketo did for marketing automation, SmashDeck being the platform to be able to automate a lot of these tasks as a sales user. And we're starting with task management. So customer acquisition, two big things that are coming up. Obviously, TechCrunch Disrupt is here in September 8th, and so we're going to try to get out to a couple of events for that. Dreamforce is going to have 70,000 attendees on September 18th, so we are definitely going to be out there. We're registered. And we've got a partner that's developing something that hasn't been done yet, as far as we know, is that a click to share within Chatter. And so if we exchange maybe a month free for pushing this button that then posts into the internal Chatter environment, that user has then shared with all the other Salesforce.com users in their org. And so we feel that that's one way to get to the masses within an organization from maybe a champion, right? Leveraging social media, certain hashtags, identifying the champions, and developing, you know, maybe in a phase 2, developing reseller agreements with the large Salesforce partners. And I've worked with Blue Wolf, Astadia, Model Metrics before they got acquired by Salesforce. And so I have a lot of relationships at these levels that I think we can leverage, and they can start to add value to their clients by saving them time on the task management. You asked earlier about validation. So right now, we're actually up to a 10% conversion rate. So we're doing some A/B testing. We're constantly measuring everything we do on the site. It's not a lot of users, but because we are still in private beta, but we have a 10% conversion rate from site visitor to beta request form fill. And what we have validated with our MVP is that the visibility into that critical data on one screen is it provides relevance to the call. The people that are the sales reps that are making their calls now understand what happened in the past rather than just kind of flying blind. And on average, we're getting about 3 additional feature requests per person, and they're pretty consistent. It's around task management. It's around automating emails. And you know, we went to these users and said, hey, what's a fair price for this? What is the price point where it makes sense? And $9 seems to be that price point for value exchange as of today.
A couple of questions here. What is the size of the validation pool that you're working with? How many customers are you talking to?
We're looking at about 25 to 30 right now. And these are individual sales users and sales managers from various companies here in the San Francisco area.
So that is not a statistically significant number.
Yeah.
That's feedback number 1. And feedback number 2 is the pricing. It seems to me like a feature, you know, it doesn't seem to me like a product. So if you're trying to do a feature on Salesforce.com, what's preventing them from coming up with this feature for free and completely making you irrelevant?
Excellent question. I think what we've seen is that it's been an issue for a number of years, and when they make a change to their application, it's going to affect all of their customers. And what we've seen is that they're not making changes to the core interface because it disrupts so many different customers across their 87,000 customers. But it is a valid question. But okay. You know, it's been an issue for 3 or 4 years. That is one of the #1 requested items within the idea exchange, and it just hasn't been addressed.
There must be a reason why it hasn't been addressed. That's what I'm kind of, this is my response to your question number 2. What is the biggest risk I see in the 6 to 12 months?
Yeah.
If this has been a request in the idea exchange and Salesforce.com is aware of it, they must have done some testing to see how critical and how important this request is. And if they have decided that it's, either they've decided it's not important enough, which tells you that there's not enough demand for what you're trying to do, or it may be in their product roadmap somewhere, in some order of priority, in which case if they do put it in, you're going to become irrelevant. That's, I think, the biggest risk.
No, I appreciate that, and it's interesting because I have my technical co-founder is a former Data.com and Salesforce.com developer, and what he said was that just to have a one-click to complete a task still isn't there as of today, and you think it'd be the most the simplest of items
to
add.
No, I get your point, but you can play this back. We're going to make the recording available. I don't want to repeat what I said, but it's basically that is your fundamental risk, and that is something that I think no investor is going to take. This is a risk no investor is going to be willing to take.
Okay, I appreciate the feedback.
Okay. All right. Next is Lincoln Liu in Singapore. TreeZone is the company. Lincoln, if you could unmute your line and tell us what you're doing. Lincoln, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. So can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So I'm from TreeZone, and I'm one of the co-founders. Our target customers are car dealers, okay. And the value proposition is to enhance image and increase sales and profit. So I would like to say it's not a product; it's a product, half product, half service. So we are using Kinect to be the sensor and the LCD screen. I mean maybe 8 LCD screens. I think if you can see in the backup slides, and it's a marketing tool and maybe a sales tool for the car dealers, and that's our original purpose. And the problem we have seen that is when people buy car, it's not a problem of it's the problem of the car dealers. When people buy cars, and usually for this model like Audi, Spider, and only one color is there. So if they would like to see another color, they will point out to another car and say you see this color. And if you see the rims of the cars, and there's no big difference because usually there's only one model there. And if you want to see on the brochure and it's very small, you cannot see the difference. So what we figure out is if we could help car dealers sell more accessories like rims and some interior design, something furnitures, and in this way they will increase their sales and profit since the accessories will have a better profit margin. So that's the basic value proposition. And for segmentation, here in Singapore there are more than 40 brands of cars, and our target is high-class brand, and we are targeting to low car dealer because if we like to talk about franchise like Ferrari, it's very difficult to talk to the headquarters, and it's better to talk to the local operator, or just to the car dealers here. So our target is Audi, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and BMW. We have visited 11 car showrooms. So for Audi, because there is new installation. For Lexus, also another installation of the car showroom. Mercedes-Benz and BMW, they are high class, and they have the willing to enhance their image, to have something new and to demonstrate and to show to their customers. Next step.
So BMW is working with you in a pilot mode right now. Is that a fair statement?
Oh no, they are just my target customers. I mean potential ones. It's not
at
real.
all. You haven't talked to any of these people, Audi, Lexus, Mercedes, BMW. You haven't talked to any of them?
I talked to the sales force, but not the marketing department, because usually it's the marketing department to purchase this hardware and software solution. So I haven't talked to the marketing department yet. And the final decision should be the managing director or the director of the car showroom, car dealer. So it's I think it should be several steps to go there to pitch and to get the deal.
Yeah, you have to go talk to these people. Without talking to them, it's hard to validate these assumptions.
Okay, so this is just a video, and I think you can just skip it. Okay, so acquisition is just direct sales, and the last with the partner. The partner is hardware partner. So we are doing the software, and it's the key of the service or solution. Okay, validation. So we observe 11 culture rooms, and we have contacted and haven't reached out yet. And there are some similar solutions we have seen, like the iPad solution or maybe website configurator for all the car brands. And Singapore, the problem is they are restricting the total number of cars, so only 30,000 cars sold per year. This is the amount, per month in Beijing. However, the customers are different. Car buyers in Singapore, they maybe 30 plus or 40 plus, they have the willing to purchase a car and they're trying to use their budget to the maximum. But maybe in China, it's just I want to have a car to the cheapest. So if you want to sell this equipment, we need to validate again. And for here, it's usually for 4 to 5 months for the customized car. It's like you design your own car. Okay. Challenges, questions. So I don't know the real market side.
I don't really understand what you're trying to do. And most importantly, I don't think you have had enough insights into the problems of the people you're trying to sell into. So what does enhancing image mean?
Okay. If you don't mind, I'd like to give you a link for video, and maybe you check it out. You will understand what we are doing.
So that you have to know how to explain what does it mean to enhance video. Is it enhancing image quality? Is it what does enhance video or enhance?
The image is the image of the car dealer.
An image of the car dealer.
Yes, it's like a marketing tool to differentiate the car dealer from others.
I see. So it's you're trying to help market the car dealer more aggressively or more effectively.
Yes. Yes.
I see. See, the presentation that you just gave, I don't know how many other people in the audience got the same impression, that at least from what you have presented, I got the impression that you're enhancing the images of the cars that are being sold.
Okay, I understand. I need to improve.
Yeah, you have to improve your pitch, and today, based on what you've told us so far, I haven't a clue. What is your concrete deliverable? What are you doing? If I'm a car dealer, what are you doing for me?
Okay.
Enhanced image is not sufficient. You have to tell me how you're going to enhance my image.
How do I enhance? So it's a screen, LCD screens, a panel, LCD panel, so can display the real size car. Help the car buyers to visualize, to change the color, to change the rim, help them visualize and close the deal. Yeah.
Why is that even interesting? That is a commodity value proposition. I can buy, I can get from BMW. If I'm a BMW dealer, I'm going to get, pictures and videos from BMW, and I will put them on a LCD screen if that's what you're talking about. Where do you come in that?
Where do we come in?
What is your value proposition?
The value proposition is still to enhance the image of the car dealers.
You're not convincing me, Lincoln.
Okay.
You're telling me something which is not backed up with any kind of detail or any kind of real value proposition. If you come and tell me that I'm going to enhance your image, I'm going to ask you how will you do that. Until you give me a compelling answer to that question, I will not do business with you.
Okay. Understand. To enhance it,
you have to create this conversation with the person who runs a BMW dealership in Singapore and have a compelling script of how you dialogue and what is the value proposition you're presenting. What is it specifically that you're going to do for that dealership? How are you going to really meaningfully impact the image of that company? I'm going to change your image is useless because I don't buy that. Who are you to tell me that you're going to improve my image? Unless you give me concrete steps of how you're going to do it and what you're going to do, I'm not going to buy anything from you.
Understand.
Okay?
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. All right. Next person. Pranay Srinivasan. Sparkle Fashion is the company. Pranay, go ahead. It's your turn.
Hi, Sramana. Thanks for the chance to present at your roundtable. This is the second time I'm doing it. I did it in 2010.
Okay.
At that time, the product was slightly different, but the company and the name was the same. So I'll just give you a 30-second background on my company. We're 2 years old. Started from scratch. Wanted to get into I used to be in exports for 10 years. I've been in apparel for almost 12, 13 years now. I wanted to get into the domestic market when I started up in 2010, and I wanted to sell ladies lingerie, mid-price lingerie. And I presented to a lot of people, and I did all the rounds with my products and my decks, but I had no revenues to speak of, and I had not been in business long enough for people to believe me. So I went back to the drawing board and went back to what I knew best, which was exports. So I became a contract manufacturing company for 2 years. I've had close to around $800,000 in revenue for the last 2 years combined. And now, because I've been able to do that and raise some debt funding from my bank, I've decided to go back to what I wanted to do, which was originally go to the domestic market in India. So basically, this is what it's all about. Next slide, please. So what we're trying to do is the Indian apparel market is about $33 billion. And most of it is the disorganized apparel market, which is basically low-cost price point products, which are sold in semi-urban and rural areas. They're also sold in urban areas, but now because of the organized sector coming in, that is getting reduced to a large extent. The disorganized market is close to $27 billion in size. This is as of 2011, and it's growing at around 14% a year. This is based on Technopac's analysis. The split between the urban and the rural size of the apparel business is around 60-40 in favor of the rural area. So we're looking at about a $15 billion market, which I'm targeting because I'm not looking at the urban market for now. What my target customer is basically, what the problem today in India is everybody is in an e-commerce kind of a craze, but they're basically chasing all the consumers who are computer savvy, whereas my target is the people who are not computer savvy but still purchase in the disorganized market. And I'm trying to find a way to organize that entire value chain without going through the traditional distribution models. So the way I did it is I'm targeting the customers. My customers are basically the small retailers in the interiors of India, which are Tier 3 and Tier 4 towns. Now, these are semi-urban areas, which may be around 60 to 70 kilometers from metros or mini metros. They have between 2 to 500,000 people. But they're also district centers for adjoining villages, maybe 60 to 80 villages around them. So these villagers come to sell their produce in these cities, and on market weeks also purchase whatever clothing they need and other kinds of products to take back with them when they wear. So each of these centers has between 2 to 10 retail stores, and this is based on my own physical validation because I was on the road for about 4-5 months in Gujarat, in Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra, so I have seen this. And what these guys do is they sell all kinds of apparel. So they're not category specific. They sell ladies, they sell men, they sell kids, they sell underwear. They sell all kinds of products, uniforms, umbrellas, you name it. So they cater to basically this population. Now the pain point here is most of the Indian apparel is geared towards the organized sector, whereas in the disorganized sector, it's only the urban areas that have the economies of scale, whereas in the rural areas, these people don't have access to traditional distribution unless they travel to the bigger cities where the wholesale shops are. So these people have to travel every week or every month whenever they run out to buy their products. They have to spend whatever money is required to get the minimum quantity from each wholesaler. They have to buy small quantities because they are not selling to a huge population, but they have to buy a big variety of merchandise. And because they're promoter-operated, every time they go on a buying trip, they lose sales because it's their second line, they're young kids or somebody who's managing the store. And so they're not able to sell as much when they're traveling for these 4 or 5 days. Also, when they go to the cities, they have to meet 6 or 7 different stockists because one guy will do jeans, one guy will do shirts, one guy will do T-shirts. And they have to buy small quantities from each one of them, consolidate them, and then take it back on transport.
Okay.
Next slide, please. So my concept is, I'd like to explain to you the people who are currently operating in these businesses right now. So there's the disorganized market, which is the major force. These guys have wholesale centers in different cities, and the factory basically supplies to these people. And they sit there and wait for these retailers to come buy from them. So there's no predictable sales. The designs and styles are based on whatever's available at the time. The retailers need to come in and buy it. All sales are in cash. There's hardly any accounting. So it's very haphazard. The organized apparel brands, which are currently in the Indian market, is basically your exporter or your, please forgive the way I say it, rich housewife in a business family will become a designer and launch a brand. But because they have such high manufacturing costs, or they have design costs, they are in big cities. Their normal sales points are between 500 rupees to 1500 rupees, so that completely cuts out the price point market. They cannot supply to the target markets, which I'm talking about, because of the prices. The distribution models are such that there are 90-day credit terms, so it constricts their cash flows. And there's a third part to the slide, which is at the bottom, which is the cash and carry and the big metros, like Big Bazaar and the big boys. They sell at low prices. But their problem is they are vertically set up stores, and they have to keep their stores in a large catchment area. So they'll have it in the Jaipur, but they won't have it in an interior, which is like 100 kilometers away from Jaipur. So they can't access these retailers either. Next slide, please. So there are about 4 or 5 current channels in India to distribute products, apparel. One is the unbranded way, where the factory will then send it to the distributor, then to the wholesaler, and then it will come to our retailer, who will then sell it to the consumer. So there's like 5 layers in this. The margins are very low because typically if the factory sells a product for 65 rupees, it will probably go to the distributor for 80, it will go to the wholesaler for about 100, and then the retailer will buy it for 120. So the price doubles, but because of the number of layers, each guy makes a margin of it, but it's still pretty cheap compared to the rest. The cash and carry will buy directly from the factory or import it and have economies of scale, so it will sell cheap. But the problem is that it is location specific, and you have to invest a lot of money to create a cash and carry store. So Metro is doing it, and Airtel with Walmart are doing it, but because they are only location specific, they can only target their surrounding areas. Then we have the organized brands, which I told you about. That's also pretty similar, only they have higher MRPs to absorb the channel costs which are involved in distribution. We have then the hypermarkets like Big Bazaar, who directly buy from the factory but sell straight to the consumer. They bypass the retailer completely.
Yeah.
We have e-commerce, which is what India is currently going crazy on with Flipkart and all these people, where the factory will sell to a brand, the brand will then stock it with the e-commerce site and he sells directly to the consumer. But here, everybody's fighting with the same eyeballs because they're all discounted and they have the COD and they're only targeting people who know how to use a computer, which is not my target at all. So I have a new kind of model where I'm taking product from the factory because I'm a factory myself and I have access to other factories with low-cost apparel. They might be the same factories that are supplying into the unbranded sector, which is in the first channel. But I'll be taking it and I'll be using e-commerce to deliver directly to the retailer through my distribution platform. And then he will sell it to the consumer. So basically, the margins which are going to the distributor and the wholesaler will then get cut out, and I'll be able to give the retailer a far better deal.
You are basically trying to become a B2B e-commerce site?
Yes, I'm an online cash and carry site, yes.
And what is your assumption about the retailers in these small towns or small villages? Are they accessing you from their, from where they are?
No, that's the whole point about it. That's the thing. That's the difference between others and me. I'm going to be launching this on a tablet, which is a cheap tablet, possibly which are manufactured in China. I've already shortlisted a few tablets which are in the range of around $65 to $70 each. What we do is load our app as a catalog on these tablets and give each tablet free to these retailers. So instead of them traveling to cities or having to access the internet, because left to their own devices, they would never access the internet. They would never get onto their cell phones and they would never download the app or do anything because they don't have the savvy at all to do it. But if I go into their stores and I give them a device and I hand it to them and I give it to them for free, and if I'm paying for the 2G network, because the mobile telephone is pretty reliable in India now in terms of data services, especially in these areas as well.
You're assuming what, a dongle connection there?
No, it could be either a dongle or a SIM card within the tablet. Either one is fine.
Basically setting them up with an internet connection, a tablet, and your catalog that is loaded up as an app on the tablet, and that's something that you're distributing to all your retailer partners. How many retailers do you need to cover in this mode?
I mean, next slide please, I will tell you the number of retailers that are there. So the size of the market, basically right now, if you look at it, we're looking at between 40 to 50,000 stores across India, which is the number of stores that will be there in this category particularly. Okay. Even if I can target 10% of that, it's 4,000 stores. Each retailer does a business of around 10,000 to 15,000 rupees a month. And I'm not counting all his business, I'm counting like maybe 30% or 25% of his business. Because they do around 100,000 rupees of business in a month purchasing. So if I'm even 20 to 25% of his purchasing wallet, I'm pretty good revenues. We're talking of in excess of $2 to $3 billion.
How much does the tablet cost in your assumption?
The tablet costs around 3,500 rupees in bulk. Right now it's costing me around 5,000 rupees. Okay.
So within a month you can amortize the tablet?
No, I can amortize the tablet because the first sale I make to him will be before I give him the tablet. My way of validating whether he is good for my tablet or no is for him to first like my product. When the regional sales manager goes to him, he'll show him the products on the tab, show him the physical samples, make him comfortable. Because relationship management is a very big part of this entire business, because we are trying to disrupt traditional channels, traditional wholesalers, traditional retailers, and give e-commerce fulfillment to these retailers who never had it before. Now, these people are used to going to a wholesaler and getting bullied by saying you have to buy a minimum of 600 pieces, otherwise I won't transport this back to your home or village or whatever. Whereas I'm telling them, buy as much as you need, buy 100 pieces, but I'll deliver it to your doorstep for free. So it's a complete paradigm shift for these guys. So the culture change is something which is I'm a little apprehensive.
So your assumption is that you're going to be delivering all this for free?
Yes.
How is that scalable?
It's extremely scalable simply because if you see, I mean, I've not put up a pricing chart on this because I thought it was too premature for this. The cost of the product to the time it reaches the retailer, even in a market like this, is normally 80% markup on the cost of the product. So even if I am giving the retailer a 10 to 15% lower price than the wholesaler, and including all the cost in it, I am still making a decent margin of around 30%.
So your margins basically covered the delivery charges?
Yes, definitely.
I like it a lot. I think you've done a very nice job of analyzing the supply chain and where the gaps are. So this could be quite powerful.
The other problem with this is because it's price point merchandise, not everybody can do it because everybody's got a fixed mindset in the apparel business and they keep crying about where the margins are going. But if you actually get down to the basics of it, which I did, actually when I started the research for this business, my initial MRP for products were between 600 to 700 rupees. Today my MRP for products are 200 rupees.
Yeah, so
So,
I mean, segment. You're going after a very, very different segment.
Exactly, and what this does is basically it unlocks over 300 million consumers to e-commerce distribution and create a captive distribution network for me, because the number of tabs I activate are the number of screens who see those guys' products. And I don't need to be the guy manufacturing everything. I can just connect brands onto the distribution platform and take a 15% distribution net margin, and I'm still home free.
That's very interesting. Very interesting, actually. It's going to be operationally complex, but it's a very interesting concept.
See, it is operationally very intensive, but in India, because it's such a fragmented and scattered market, and it's all over the place, because of the sheer scale of it, it is operationally intensive.
Yeah.
But because I've been in the apparel business for so long, I'm not a tech person. But I understand that I could not have done this 5 years ago because tablets cost $35,000 then.
No, I mean, I think the good news is if you can crack the operational complexity and really scale this, then it's hard to compete with, but because that kind of operational complexity is a barrier to entry in itself.
Yes, that as well as and merchandising, because if my merchandising is not razor sharp, these retailers will throw me out.
And how much, what kind of margin do you expect to make on this business?
My profit margins, which are my gross net margins, net of taxes, are in the range of 24 to 29% after product, logistics, and all taxes.
So the operating margin is 24 to 29%, not gross margin?
Yeah.
Operating.
Well, I mean, yes, my operating margin, you can say that. This is before all my internal overheads and all that.
Before, that's gross margin, that's not operating margin.
Yes, you're right.
Gross margin is 24 to 29%. What is the operating margin?
Yes. My operating margin should be in the range of between 15 to 18%.
Are you sure about these numbers?
I'm sure about this. I'm sure about this simply because a lot of this logistics will be outsourced, and I don't need to invest in Salesforce as heavily as most traditional brands do. I also don't need to invest in the kind of infrastructure that most traditional brands do. The e-commerce scale, what people talk about in retail, I can bring that entire scale here and reduce my overheads over a period of time. So probably initially I'm going to start 1 state and 2 states and do it on a cell-wise profitable basis, unless of course I raise funds and I'm able to scale it up.
Okay. And is this already piloted? Do you already have this going?
Well, I have the product already going, but the app is under development and the tablet has been tested already. Already the apparel is being sold. I'm selling around 12,000 units a month already.
Yeah, but I think what I'm asking is this mode, this business that you're talking about with the tablet catalog and the rural consumers and all this, or rural retailers and consumers and all this, that's the model. I want to see what does it look like in pilot. Once you do the pilot, what do you learn from it? But I think your hypothesis is very good, I think.
Yes, I mean, I've been testing it for a while. The pilot, I'm going to try it with a couple of people because the problem is I can't launch the pilot now until Diwali because no retailer worth his salt is going to give me either the time of the day or the effort to try and learn this when he's in full season. This is peak season till November, so I am in the process of getting my app perfected, my tablet perfected. I got to lock the tablet to this particular app. I don't want it to access anything else on the net. I need to be able to negotiate the 2G charges on the SIM card. Also, I'm using tabs already. I've got an online website coming up in another 20 days, which will be an online shopping site, which will be a wholesale catalog site. I'm going to use that on existing tablets to my wholesalers, whom I'm selling to now, and have them access it so that it becomes a sort of breaking in until the app is live in November.
That's fine. You already have an existing business, so it's okay if it takes a few months. It's not a problem.
Right. I mean, I'm also in the process of raising some money by debt, so that is taking a little while too. In India, everything takes time.
Good. Good. It's very interesting. All right.
So this is.
Do you have any other questions, Pranay?
Just a couple of things. I mean, as far as the scaling this goes, I know that it is operationally very complex and sensitive, but I've been in talks with a few people, and as usual, everyone wants to see a little traction before they come in and discuss stuff. But I just wanted to understand from you whether there are any other T's or I's I need to dot. of course.
I would, like you said, I think I would do a pilot which basically fully explains the concept and shows, takes you through the entire operational cycle and gives you an understanding of the numbers.
Okay.
And any investor looking at this project would be able to take that pilot and extrapolate from there to see how does this become scalable. If you can pilot this properly, I think this is going to be a fundable business. But I think
it's also, the thing about this is also it lends itself very easily to scale, and it bypasses a lot of traditional things, so it's very disruptive.
Yeah, all that is well taken, but I think the thing that, because it's so operationally complex and there's so many moving parts and so many parties involved in the supply chain, you're going to need to pilot it somehow, do a very constrained, maybe a one village kind of deal where you work with that village and that retailer and figure out what it takes to service that, or maybe 10 retailers, what it takes to service that, what kind of numbers are we talking, all of that. If you can, right now what investors would have difficulty with is to really get a visceral feel for. Conceptually looks great. Viscerally, we don't have a feel for it.
Right, because it's not out there yet. That's right.
Not out there, and you haven't really tested this yet. So conceivably, you can get seed capital for this. I think, especially because you have an existing business and everything, you can, or bank financing, something or the other, you can get to do that pilot. Once you have that pilot, you can take this to VCs. Actually, I think VCs would fund it.
Right. I'm basically looking at debt financing because there are not many angels who've been interested in this. I've approached a few, but nobody has been interested. I asked for about $150,000 to get this up to speed, but nobody was interested. So I've been trying to raise debt for the last month or two, and I'm doing business anyways. It's a cash flow positive business anyway. So
I mean, worst case, you would be able to fund it from your existing business.
Yeah, worst case, I'll be able to fund it from my existing business.
But that's okay.
Sorry?
I was saying that worst case, you can fund it from your existing business. Maybe it will take you a little bit longer, but at least the pilot, a reasonable size pilot, you should be able to finance just organically based on your existing business and some bank financing.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do now, because I'm trying to do it in at least 50 to 100 stores, get my product in to at least 20 stores, my app, and have it scale from there. So by December or January, I have proof of concept and traction and a live running model. And I'm pretty sure that this will not be a problem because all these retailers basically look for the BBD, which is the bigger, better deal. So all these people, when I talk to them about this, they say, I don't care if you want me to walk on Mars as long as you reduce my prices and deliver it home for me, I'm fine.
Yeah. So I think by the spring of next year, you should have a proof of concept, at which point I think this would be potentially, if the numbers and the proof of concept turns out to be something that shows that is scalable and shows that the numbers are compelling, I think this is actually a venture financeable deal potentially.
Yeah, let's hope so, but I want to get it out on there and do as much as I can as my own without diluting much equity right now.
Yes, and that's always the strategy we recommend for every entrepreneur, is that you do as much proof of concept and as much validation as possible before you approach VCs, because these days, the notion of risk capital has become very different. There were times when risk capital really operated as risk capital. These days, risk capital operates as minimum risk capital. So that's the nature of the business.
No, I know. There's an Indian, SIDBI, right? In India, the Small Industries Development Board.
Yeah.
Basically, they fund small industries. So they have a risk capital of about ₹1 crore rupees, which is approximately $200,000.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of applying for that, and that should come through by the end of October. So once that comes through, I'm okay.
Yeah. Okay. And how much revenue do you have in your current clothing business?
In my current clothing business, I closed last year at about 2.8 crores, which is around $550,000. last year. And I've done about $200,000 in revenue this year.
Okay.
And that's my contract manufacturing business, which is something parallel to this. It's running on its own.
These are bankable numbers. You can these kinds of numbers are okay for you to start a banking relationship with somebody who's willing to make money.
I know. I already have $150,000 limit, a line of credit with the bank here already, which I took last year. But I don't want to extend that more, because otherwise what will end up happening is I'll have all my finances in one boat, and I don't want that finance for that business to affect here. Otherwise, that business will suffer as well.
Okay. All right. Well, there are options. This business can be built, and if you stay on top of the proof of concept, that I think it's going to be very, very much doable.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I haven't chatted with Irina after this, so hopefully we'll get to speak soon again.
Excellent. All right, folks. That concludes the formal presentations from our entrepreneurs today. I will quickly run you through how we work with entrepreneurs for those of you who are considering joining 1M1M. And before we do that, I want to ask for your help in introducing 1M1M to serious entrepreneurs. You see, our mission is to work with serious entrepreneurs who have the resilience and the mettle to deliver serious, successful businesses, and that takes time, that takes energy, that takes a lot of work, basically, a lot of commitment. And those kinds of serious entrepreneurs are not easy to find. If you look around, you'll find lots of entrepreneurs who are walking around with a slide deck with the impression that they're going to start their business if they get financing. Well, that will never happen, because investors do not fund slide decks. Investors are looking for entrepreneurs who are already getting their businesses off the ground, not waiting for funding. And then once there is some amount of proof of concept and some amount of risk mitigation, that's when they're actually interested in investing. So we are looking for entrepreneurs who have the capacity to take risk and to actually move mountains up front, so that we can then help them get to navigate those waters and groom them, perhaps for fundability in some cases. But in a lot of cases, they're also going to become successful as self-financed entrepreneurs. So we've created a pool of resources for you. Some of it is free, some of it is paid. I'll just run you through those. Your navigation begins at 1mby1m.com. You can look at our blog, which is SramanaMitra.com, and that's where we publish all our content for free. You can access any amount of our content, case studies, everything for free on the blog. And then we start synthesizing some of that. The first level of synthesis you will find is in the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, which is available from Amazon and Kindle internationally. And in India, you'll find it on Flipkart. These are 4 volumes of the Entrepreneur Journeys book series based on case studies, analysis, and synthesis. And it starts putting together the methodology of 1M1M. And there are 2 cornerstone items in that methodology. One is bootstrapping, the other is positioning. You cannot build a successful company without paying serious attention to bootstrapping and positioning. And those are things that we emphasize a lot, both in the Entrepreneur Journeys book series as well as in the 1M1M methodology. So again, the blog is at SramanaMitra.com. In addition of the free resources, these roundtables are free, and this is our 140th session. So we have been very committed and very consistent in offering you these free roundtables to come and get some input. And we pretty much tell you the way it is. As you heard today, I was not trying to sugarcoat any of the feedback, because I think entrepreneurs need to hear what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. So I'm not going to give you false encouragement if your idea has risks and things that don't make sense. So that's just the way we operate, and that's the way I believe we should operate. We have had over 10,000 people attend these roundtables. We've coached hundreds of entrepreneurs. Also, we have the 1M1M Premium program, and that's where we provide you with extensive methodology guidance through curriculum, these kinds of strategy roundtable sessions, which are private members-only versions of the sessions. We also help you with business development, introductions to customers, channel partners, a lot of help with media and analyst relations, and help with financing if you have a financeable company. So the first place where I would point you to is the 1M1M self-assessment. That is a place where we have a 9-point questionnaire against which you can calibrate yourself. If you are a premium member, you can also get access to the various modules that teach you those topics. If you have gaps in your understanding of those topics, you can fill those gaps by running yourself through those modules and the case studies. Again, the site is 1m1m.com. In addition, let me point you to a few other places on the site. On the top right corner, on this black bar, you have premium program, FAQ, and video messages. There you will find a lot more detail and depth about the program and get your questions answered. Our methodology is lean, capital-efficient, bootstrap startups. We work only with IT and IT-enabled services businesses, and that includes, all sorts of software, internet, mobile concepts. E-commerce is big, Web 3.0 and e-commerce, cloud computing. These are very big categories that we work with. We do not work with biotech, clean tech, semiconductor, and other capital-intensive businesses. So in the curriculum, what you will find are 7 core modules that we want you to go through regardless. This is the core basis of your entrepreneurial training that you have to master no matter what business you're doing. And those cover bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, financing, customer acquisition, and team building. Then we have the electives, which is Web 3.0 and e-commerce, cloud computing and business solutions, outsourcing and consulting, mobile and social apps, healthcare IT, online education / educational technology, gaming. These are roughly the areas where we have elective modules and where we have the maximum amount of our work. The way we deliver the curriculum is a combination of 2 things. One is video lectures, and the other is case studies. We have developed case studies since 2006. Today, we have the most important and comprehensive collection of early-stage case studies focused on IT and IT-enabled services and focused on early-stage business building, very pragmatic early-stage business building. And we have had over 600 entrepreneurs come and share their success strategies with us, people who have already been successful. So that's one piece of it. And over the 140+ sessions of coaching entrepreneurs, we've also got a very, very clear understanding of what the issues are in the entrepreneurs' lives. So we have basically triangulated the two. We've taken the success strategies in mitigating those issues, and we have created a curriculum that addresses all the core issues of entrepreneurs. So this is by far today the most comprehensive and the most effective curriculum being used in entrepreneurship development anywhere in the world. And I'm not saying this lightly. I'm saying this on the basis of a very, very comprehensive survey and discussions with lots of people in the ecosystem. So by the way, we expect that you would spend about 50 hours on the core curriculum and then another 50 hours on electives to really get the curriculum under control. We have no requirement. The program is a year long, so you can take your time to do the program, or you can do the curriculum in, the first 2 weeks or first 3 weeks of joining the program, and you would start off with a deep understanding of what you need to do right away. And you can start engaging in the private consulting sessions like these, through which we impart the rest of the interactive knowledge. This part of it is web self-service, and then we have the interactive knowledge in form of these video conference-based mentoring sessions. So that's the program. It costs $1,000 in annual membership fee, and it's basically unlimited usage. We also have an affiliate program, so we partner with incubators and entrepreneurship development organizations all over the world. Our upcoming free roundtables are all listed here. September 6th, 13th are 2 regular plain roundtables like these. October 4th and 11th are the Trade King contest finals. That's the financial technology contest that we are working on right now, and the deadline for applications on those is September 10th. So make sure if you're working on financial technology, trading related apps, get your applications in as soon as possible. And then October 18th is our 145th roundtable. We do not have any other roundtables in after October 18th. I am going to be in India. We have a couple of live events in India, and we will come back to you with those. I will be attending TaiCon in Kerala, so there's going to be stuff there, and also we are going to do a big event in Calcutta on November 1st. So you will hear the details of that shortly as we pull those things together. So that's pretty much it. Reminder again, Trade King Pitch Fest deadline is coming up September 10th. Finally, for those of you who are in India and looking for a business idea to work on, do take a look at my Vision India 2020 book. It has $45 billion business ideas that you're very welcome to steal, morph, whatever you want to do with it. And it's basically a book that is written as if we're sitting in 2020 looking back on building these businesses. It has very deep strategic analysis of each of those businesses. All right. Let's take questions from the public chat. If you have any questions, audience, use the public chat to ask, and I will try to address as much as possible. Anybody? No? No questions? All right, then. We can wrap up the session today and move on with our days and work days for those of you who are in working time zones still. All right. Goodbye then. See you next week. Bye-bye.